everyone. Good evening. Thank you very much for this opportunity. On behalf of my team, Ferdinal, Oktavianus, Nopriyasman, and Indirawati Zahid, we would like to present our article titled Social Space and Urban Life Rhythm, Scanning Jakarta City Life via Narrative Architecture of Fiction. So we locate our studies on the field of literature in relation to social aspect. So in this presentation, we divide our discussion on 5 points: background, problems, aim, methods, result, discussion, and conclusion. Okay, let me start with the background. So in our field, especially literature, literature can be used as a way of pleasing ourselves as entertainment, but literature can also be used as writers, by writers as social critique. Yeah. And for people of architecture, literature can be used as a source of creating city architecture. So in this particular studies, we combine these two. We try to look at literature as a social critique by also representing how literature is used as city architecture. So the use of literature as a social critique is not new in Indonesia, especially in many cases. Okay, writers, literary critics, as well as literary scholars use literature to criticize the society, including the government. So in some particular cases, all right, so critics, literary critics, including us, use social space and rhythm of urban life that we find in Indonesian literature. Especially works of literature that are used to criticize the policy applied by Indonesian government in the city, especially in the big cities like Jakarta. Writers and literary critics as well as scholars use literary work to channel their criticism. So they criticize the society, the government as well, through the work that they created. So they also criticize the city architecture, especially transportation planning and working mode in Jakarta. So in this particular research, we use some stories actually, but the main focus, we choose one story as the main focus, that is a story written by Simbolon. His story is about, you know, the life of the workers in Jakarta. If I may take a few minutes for this one. We have two main characters in the story. One character is a white collar worker, and another character is, the leaf seller. We call it chinchao. Chinchao is a kind of leaf that is used to make a kind of water for our health. So these two men met in an angkot. We call it angkot. Angkot is public transport in Jakarta, and in many places in Jakarta, people use angkot or public transport to travel from one place to another because it's cheap and there are many of them. But the condition is not so supportive. It's hot and something like that, and as well as the routes are not well organized. So in this particular context, so some writers, including Simbolon, created his story to criticize the transportation problems in Jakarta. So among the problem that we see in some stories in Indonesia, the first is how the concept of social space is used to critique the government, sorry, the government policy in terms of space use in Jakarta. And then second, how the concept of urban life rhythm is used to represent people perception of the government policy. So to arrive at the answers to these two questions, we choose the object, social space, urban life rhythm, and social critique in urban narrative of Jakarta, especially Bakul Daun Cincau by Paketri Simbolon. This is the story that I told you earlier. And then the approach we used was qualitative and textual analysis. In terms of story, we applied literary structuralism and architectural concept of social space and urban life rhythm about urban narrative of Jakarta. Then after we conducted the research, we come to the results. Okay, we divide into three: social critique, application of the concept of social space, and the application of the concept of open rhythm. In the first one, social critique. So the focus of these short story and some other stories is the city architecture of Jakarta. How Jakarta is planned by the government, was built, and including the planning of transportation or transportation planning, in which when we look at this, the city architecture and then transportation planning, right there involve the social interaction among people that live, okay, the city architecture as well as the transportation they use in their life. So in this particular story, as well as in other stories related, the story's representation as urban art not only capture the reality, all right, but also critique social condition. So Simbolon capture the reality of Jakarta, how life in Jakarta, how the city of the architecture of the city was made, was built, and then how transportation was planned by the government, as well as he criticizes, okay, the social condition as the result of this planning. So the condition could be the theme of inequality among people in Jakarta, alienation of some people rather than the others, and the loss of intimacy in modern life that many people, many group of people in the world experience, not only in Jakarta, but especially in Jakarta. These are the three important themes that become the focuses of the story writers. Yeah, equality, alienation, and the loss of intimacy. Second one, social space. The social space in the stories reflect the dynamic of class struggle, of class and the complex relationship between characters. It stresses that the city becomes an arena of encounter, conflict, and negotiation of social and economic and cultural identities. So through the creation of the story, okay, so we see the reality, what's going on in Jakarta, okay, the architecture of Jakarta, social architecture, as well as the criticism that the Simbolon applies in the story. Then urban life rhythm. The rhythm of urban life in the stories is depicted through narrative that emphasize busyness, alienation, and high mobility. Now, as we always see in big cities, especially in Jakarta, so busy people are always busy. Some people are alienated from the city itself, even though they live in a city, because of the rhythm, the urban rhythm as a capital city, as a big city, especially, so that you can see the high mobility of the people from one place to another. So urban spaces shape the existential experiences of their characters. Yeah. In briefs, after we have conducted the research on this particular story and some other stories, related stories, so we conclude conclude some point. The first one, social space in a short story, and the stories about Jakarta reflect the dynamics of class and complex relationship between characters, where the city becomes an arena for encounters, conflict, and negotiation of social, economics, and cultural identities. Second, the rhythm of urban life in short stories is depicted through narrative that emphasize business, alienation, and high mobility, showing how urban spaces shape the existential experiences of the characters. Three, short stories, a representation of urban literature, not only capture reality, but also critique social condition, such as inequality, alienation, and the loss of intimacy in the fast phase of modern life. Even though these studies is completed, however, it still has some limitation. So this investigation is widely based on a single work and some related works of literature supported applying only two concepts, social space and city life rhythm. So there are many possible research topic that can develop, that can enhance, that can improve the quality of this article. So we can look at other fictional works exposing other aspects of social space and urban life rhythm in Jakarta. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ferdinand, for this nice presentation. Is there any question? The follow is Marisol Esperanza Sipagota. Esperanza.
Thank you very much.